Hello, friends and family. It's day 90, cycle 5, day 5. If you're new, I'm Jen. If you're coming back, thanks for joining us again. Welcome, one and all, to my quest to crush aggressive diffuse large B-cell lymphoma, DLBCL. We're using the R-EPOCH immunotherapy chemotherapy to crush non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Thank you for coming along on the ride. Can you believe it's been 90 days? These have been hard-fought 90 days. 3 months. Holy mackerel. I can't get over it. In any case, let's get into it. Are you a victim or a survivor? That is today's question. And I have a quote for you. One quote. You can be a victim of cancer or a survivor of cancer. It's a mindset. Dave Peltzer. So I just wanted to put this in a little perspective. I believe this to some extent. However, I'm not saying that, physically cancer is an illness that may or may not be able to be overcome, right? You may die from cancer. And just because you die from cancer does not make you a victim of cancer, right? You can live until the moment you die and you're a survivor in my book. So when I say, are you a victim or a survivor of cancer or anything, my question is really, are you living or are you waiting to die? That's my opinion, my philosophy, etc. That's where I'm coming from. So I believe I'm a survivor. Now, I've already survived cancer twice, right? Hopefully I'm going for number 3. But are you a victim or a survivor? Do you sit back and let it happen to you, or are you in it and you're living and you're doing your thing? You're making the most of every moment. You're living every blessing that you can get, finding the joy in every day, right? This is what I'm talking about. This is the message that I give consistently. And I'm not talking Pollyanna. I'm not talking optimistic. I'm talking, I don't even know which video it is, so I can't go back and give you a little link. But there was at least once when I said, not doing that means that cancer didn't win the day, right? Even though I don't feel good, that I'm able to get through the day and see the next day. And that's important to me, I guess is my comment. If I just lay around and wait to feel better, wait to be done with this, wait to live, I think that was what it was about. People are like, oh, well, you're working and you're doing this and you're doing that. And I agree. It is a lot. And some days I don't want to be doing it. And I have taken days off when I need to. And I will be taking some days coming right now. But if I just said, well, I can't work at all until we're done with this, and I can't do this at all, I can't work with robotics at all, and I can't do this or that, well, then I'm letting cancer win. It's winning the day. I might win in the end, right? In 6 months or however long it takes me to get through this development, but I'm letting it win. I'm a victim of cancer in that case, right? I'm not living my life. I'm just waiting until cancer leaves after I get my medical treatment. That's not the life I want to lead. I want to be a survivor. I want to, within the capabilities of my body. Now, we talked about that a lot in the last couple of days, right? I really have to amp everything down and be careful and all that stuff. However, I want to be a survivor. I don't want to be a victim. And that's my comment. All right, so on a separate note, the answer to how does your body process through IV or fluids versus oral? So a little different answer than I expected. I did quite a bit of research today. Thank you to my brother who connected me with some links that finally got me to ask the right questions. I was asking the wrong questions, which is often the case when I'm looking online. A lot of times I ask Bill, what would you search for? And then he finds something a little different and it gets me on the right path. But today it was my brother. So thank you. I'm calling that my angel delivery. I'll do that later. So what I found so I have some data for you. 52% of women about 60% of men is fluid-based. And when I say fluid, I know there's always this kind of nomenclature that says you're X percentage water, but that's a little bit misleading because your fluid is blood, it is minerals and all that other stuff. But in any case, you get the gist of it, right? 50 to 60% fluid. When we drink water, it has to make it through your stomach to your large intestines. And I'm not sure if it has to go to the small. I think just the large. or somewhere in the large to small intestines, I guess we could say. Because your body has to strip out the foods and the fluids until the fluids are something that can be absorbed through osmosis into your bloodstream. So the objective of the water or the fluids that you're drinking is to get the fluids into the bloodstream. So the first answer is that when I get IV injected fluids, that's going straight to the bloodstream, right? It skips that whole digestion period, so it's already in there. So that was the first question I had in my mind. So my data was a little skewed from that perspective, but that's okay. Let's see, what else can I tell you about? I did more research on insensible fluid losses, which we talked about a little bit a couple days ago. And they said, and that seems to be also under debate based on studies. So the general consensus is 500 to 800 cc's, or 0.5 to 0.8 liters per day is the minimum that you lose with insensible losses. Through breathing, through sweating, feces, any number of things that are difficult to measure. Although they did estimate that 100 cc's per daily bowel movement kind of thing you could estimate. But and your amount of sweating is obviously contingent on how much you're exercising and night sweats and all those other things, so that's hard to measure. And then breathing also seems to be under great debate. Some people lose more or less. It also has to do with what climate you're in. If you're in a cold climate or a hot climate, that increases your sweating or your breathing, respiration, et cetera, et cetera. And also if you exercise heavily, also weighs into all of these things. So those numbers, that's why they're called insensible. They're very difficult to say what they are. So then the next question I had really, and I've been asking this question for a while, right, is should we be measuring on a daily basis or a weekly basis? What is the real measure? So this was very interesting. So the half-life of the water that I drink today, when I say a half-life, that means, I'm trying to think how to articulate that. 1 second. Like when you take medication, most medications have a half-life. So when you first take it, you're getting 100%, and then after some hours, it's only 50%, and then after some hours, it's 25%, and it keeps going down, down, down. And that's how they figure out when the medication's out of your body, right? Chemo or any other medication that you take. I guess it's true of anything you ingest, honestly. So what they've determined is that when you ingest fluid, water, right, through the process it comes into your body and then it goes into your bloodstream. The water I drink today does not actually come out of my body today. But what does happen is that your body always wants to be equal. So if I drink water today, my body detects, you got plenty of fluid, your fluid status is good, the fluid in your blood and everything else, we can get rid of extra. Then it sends a message to your kidneys and other organs, like sweating and so forth. It says, we have water to spare, just dump it. We don't need it. Your fluid, we want to keep steady. You're good, just get rid of it. So the fluid, the out, is not actually the same as the in. There might be some, but most of it is not. It's just what blood is flowing through the kidneys to be screened, essentially. So the other thing that I learned a lot today, was that your kidneys only need to expel about 500 cc's per day to get the toxins out, right? 500 cc's of urine with the toxins. So to be healthy, to keep your levels good, if your kidneys are working properly, the minimum you would expel is about 500 cc's. And then there's this equilibrium balance issue. So if I have a lot of fluid, then I'm going to go over 500 because the other stuff is just getting me to balance, right? But if I'm dehydrated, I might only be 500 or less. Less would be detrimental, right? So the answer is you're supposed to measure the ins and outs on a daily basis. But the reality is that what comes in today may not necessarily come out today. And there were a couple of measures that you could use to see if you were dehydrated, like a pinch test to see if it came down, and then making sure your hand was above your heart level, pressing in. This had a name and I can't remember it offhand. I'll look it up and put it on the screen. And when you let go, when does it go back to normal color? Like, does the white return to the pink kind of thing? And that would also give you an indication of hydration. I think they said it should go back in less than 2 or 3 seconds. If you're hydrated. If you're dehydrated, then it won't happen. Same thing with the pinching. If you're dehydrated, it won't come back down at a reasonable rate. So these are things, most of the time they're concerned with dehydration. Most of the documentation has to do with hospitalizations, and you're watching the ins and outs, and then making a determination of should we introduce IV fluids because you're not getting enough ins orally, right? So that is the story. I'm trying to see if I have any other notes here. They said typically, because of the 5 to 800 plus the urine output, they said urine output is typically 1,500 a day, 1,500 to 2,000, depending male, female. And then an additional 5 to 1,000. They were estimating about 3,500 out with the insensible and the sensible losses. However, they said if you maintain a higher amount consistently, then your ins and outs will consistently be higher, which is what's happening. They did mention that there is some risk of dehydration if you're consistently higher and then you go lower, which is a little worry for me because I am pretty high in the scale. But if I go too low, when I'm not feeling good, that could be a problem. But so far, I've been holding up pretty well. So that is the news I have as far as that goes. If I've shared any incorrect information, please let us know in the comments below. That is not my intention. And I'll caveat, I am not a medical professional, but this was my research. So that's the story. All right, sorry. I am chewing a little teeny bit of gum, so I hope it's not bothering you. The nurse today, when I was getting the Cytoxan, mentioned that Pepsin might help with the nausea. So that got me to thinking, when I have like pretty bad heartburn, I chew mint gum, and it really helps me a lot to get rid of the heartburn. So I was like, So I did a couple of root beer barrels, and I've really been suffering from the nausea since I went in this afternoon. So I just grabbed a little piece of gum. I feel so much better, I can't even tell you. Like 15 minutes ago, I did not feel as good. So this is good. I can't chew it overnight, but obviously I will be taking my medication tonight. All right, so let's keep going. How am I? My comment here is the chemo is real. I know you can't really tell right now because I had this burst of feeling pretty good. But I feel like overall it's definitely better than cycle 4. So I don't know if I changed enough things back, if I was gentle with my body enough that I didn't, go too high, or if my drink, flush methodology is helping. Any of those could be it. I'm going with it. Okay, on the Angel's Delivery, I am thanking my brother for getting me down the right path for the research. I feel more knowledgeable about the fluids, ins and outs, and balancing and all that stuff. Doctor news. So I think I mentioned before that they pulled labs on Friday that I was waiting for. Today they said the labs were either lost or hemolyzed. I think they were hemolyzed because when they pulled them, they looked a little funny. So they pulled new labs today. I'll get those in a couple days. I did go into the center. We disconnected from the bag. I no longer have my friend the fanny pack. And then I got Cytoxan. And I did ask for extra fluids. So by IV, between the chemo, the saline with the chemo, and the extra saline, I got 500 cc's, half a liter, by IV. I also got Aloxi, which is a anti-anemic, by IV. I was nauseous before I left. I'll make that comment. And I continue to be nauseous. Thank you very much. I struggled through the rest of the afternoon and evening. On the happy news, which I just mentioned, I am done with cycle 5 poisoning. So there is a very distinct possibility that I only have one poisoning left. I am not hanging my hat on that, but there is a possibility that I have to just do cycle 6. Fingers crossed, arms crossed, everything crossed. And I think we talked about this before, but 6 weeks following cycle 6, I'll have another PET scan. And if the PET scan indicates we're clean, then I'm done with treatment. And if it doesn't indicate that we're clean, I don't know what the next steps are. Back to not borrowing trouble. I might ask the doctor that at my next visit, but he tends to not like to do the what ifs. He wants to just go in with the plan. So probably the plan is wait for the PET scan results and then have a conversation. And to be honest with you, from a noodle perspective, it's probably okay with me for now. Might be as we get into those 6 weeks where I'm waiting for the PET scan, then I'll be like, I need to talk about this. I need more information. I can't just wait. But for now, I don't need it. All right, so that's what I have for the doctor's news. So let's talk about my to-do list. My to-do list. So a couple notes here. I had a burst, like I felt the best I felt all week this morning, like until maybe 11 a.m., like between 8 and 11, I was like, woohoo, party time. I actually had to remind myself to slow down. Like I wanted to just zip around the house. Zip, zip, zip. Like you're going to feel horrible if you do that. So I tried not to. All right, so let's talk about my to-do list. I did go to work today. I did hydrate. I think I'm at 72 ounces right now, maybe a little over 72, and I'll still have the protein drink later. So another 16, so I'll get to my 88 plus. Plus the 500 I got at the doctor's office. Chemo is finished. Poisoning, we just talked about that. I activated Hoff's new phone. I loaded the dishwasher. It's not been run yet. I think we still need a few more things in there. And then I was able to collectively, I think I did 3 or 4 actually, little charity miles to get to 3/4 of a mile today, which was my best in quite a while. So that was good. And I'll take this opportunity to talk about charity miles. Collectively, our team is still 16. Thank you. If you're interested in joining our team, there's a link down below. If you have any questions, let me know. You're welcome to join us. I donate to the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society for obvious reasons. If that's not a charity you're interested in donating to, you can still join our team and donate to a charity of your choice. And our collective miles is 662 miles of movement. I'm so proud of you guys. Thank you so much. Makes me so happy to know that you're moving. Thank you. All right, so let's keep going. So tomorrow, my to-do must. Half a day of work is scheduled. I'd almost put that under would like to do. If I can't get up or I really am not feeling it, I will call out sick, but let's see how it goes. Typically, my Wednesday mornings are acceptable. I must hydrate again. I must rest. And I have to go to the doctor's office, I think 4 p.m. Eastern, for my Neulasta shot. And that is all I must do tomorrow. All right, now let's talk about would love to do. I still need to order my phone hub dongle. I did do a little bit of research on that today, but again, I'm just not there. Didn't pull the trigger. And I still need to set up Bob's old PC. I talked to Bill a little bit about it, so maybe he'll help me. There's just a couple things. I guess the worst case is I could use his login, but I'm worried about, we'll see. We'll try. So and then I put the robotics meeting on my would love to do. So that is what I have on tap for tomorrow. I'm sorry, today, ta-da, and tomorrow for my to-do. As you can see, I'm shifting a little bit to be focused more on, resting and healing. I know that these next couple days, despite how good I feel right at this very moment, are going to be challenging, and I want to make sure I'm in the right place. Okay, so a little bit of feedback, if you could. I got some feedback about the color changes I made were successful, they were easier to read, and so forth, so thank you. I also added some icons next to my status and statistics that show like up arrow if it's increased or down arrow if it went down. I think thumbs up was for, if it was equal, and maybe a gray check mark if there was no change. I think that's what I did. So let me know if that's helpful. I'm comparing yesterday to today, essentially. So if you think that's helpful. I know when I was using the other video editor, I transitioned between yesterday, today data, so you could look at both of them. But it's a little harder with this one, and I'm not sure there's a lot of value there. So I thought maybe if I just gave you an icon indicator, that would kind of help you keep track of day over day if you wanted. All right, so if you're just here for story time, thank you so much for listening to me jabber on for quite a while. Hopefully I'm going to be cutting some of this out because there's a lot in there. Okay, if you're just here for story time, thank you so much for joining us today, and we will see you tomorrow. Can't promise it's going to be as entertaining tomorrow or informational, but I'll try my best. Love you. See you tomorrow. All right, let's get into daily symptoms and statistics. Nausea. Yes, I took the medicine last night, And the nausea was quite a bit. It started midday and it got worse, obviously, when I went into the center and got more medication and so forth. So not great on the nausea today. I would definitely say that would be like a arrow down. It got worse. The mouth pain is there. Teeth pain is not there. I have a little bit of throat pain. So that's a little worse. My weight actually came down a smidgen at X 6.5. My fluid in was 88 ounces, which is 2.6 liters, plus 0.4 liters. And these are measures from yesterday. So today's measures I'll give you tomorrow. Just wanted to note that. So that's 3 liters. So I had 3 liters in yesterday, and I had exactly 3 liters out yesterday. So very even. Thumbs up there. So it seems that my body is kind of in equilibrium, I'm going to call that. My sleep was 5 hours and 19 minutes. I had about a 20-minute rest. It wasn't even a nap. It was just kind of a relax your body for a few minutes, and that was it today. So I do need to do a little better at that. My movement was 8,500 steps. That was an improvement from yesterday, plus restorative poses, and my vitals were fine. Even at the doctor, they were at the high end of normal, but I was like, listen, this is the worst part of this whole treatment right here. What you're going to do right now, I'm calling that a win. I think it was 130 something over 80 something, so I'm like, I'm good with that. All right, neuropathy. I'm going to call it a bit, so that's a little worse than yesterday. Actually, right now, I don't even feel it. I felt it a little while ago when I took my notes, so I'm going to say it's a little worse, but it's not horrible, certainly. The hair loss is status quo, as far as I can tell. Skin is status quo. Nose clots are still there. Night sweats are still there. Hoping those ease up now that I'm finishing up the prednisone. I do have one more dose I'm going to be taking in a little bit. No headache. Fatigue, I think so, but I can't tell if that's just because I didn't have a lot of sleep and no nap today. Red skin is just a bit, so that's a little bit of an improvement, I think. It's been, very red. Now I think it's just a bit. And no chemo brain. And that is a wrap. That's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for your love and support. I really appreciate it. And as I mentioned yesterday, you guys are part of my toolbox that keeps me going. So I really appreciate all your love and support. Thank you. Love you. Remember, every day is a gift. Live it. We'll see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.